Welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast with author Sarah F. Hathaway and co-host Chen Gibson. Blending survival, fiction, and fact to bring you entertaining education that will help you dream, survive, and thrive. And now, here's your host, Sarah F. Hathaway and Chen Gibson.
Hello, and welcome back to the Changing Earth podcast. This is having some audio drama. This is episode number 342. Hey, Jim, what's up?
You see me slide sideways into my parking slot and run into the studio?
Yeah. I'm here. I'm throwing my stuff on. We had like no BS time beforehand. It was...
None. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But we're here.
We're here. Here we are.
Chins up, y'all.
My garden's in.
Nice.
The tomato starters I had put in got annihilated by frost, but we're steadfast and we're trying again. So we'll just keep planting more of those buggers everywhere until we get some tomatoes to can. I almost cussed on air, so that's not good. But yeah, so that's cool. Garden's in, everything's ready to go, and the world is spinning around. It's getting tight.
Jill.
Everything's getting tight, man. I'm telling you, I don't know how the average everyday person is going to make 3 more years of this BS.
Right?
Yeah.
I've never paid attention to gas prices. I just, it's like I need it. It's required for me to get from point A to point B. I just fill up, right?
Right.
Now I'm literally using those gas apps
The
on
gas
my phone,
apps.
seeing, and, I went on a trip this weekend and I planned out the route and then I looked at all the gas stations and I kind of wrote on a little sticky pad what exit was what price. So I knew, if I stopped here, I'd be paying 10 cents less and I aimed for that exit.
I mean, I'm going to go on a
ridiculous
road trip in June back to Cali, and I'm like, how much?
Gas buddy.
Yeah, I know. My friend already
before
told
you
me.
go, you just
because that way it
out.
tells you where to get off, how many miles per gallon, and all that stuff. I know. I'm like, this is insane, and it's not just the price of gas. It's not just like us going to the pumps, but
I know.
I've been talking about for years what the food supply looks like and how much of our society, every single product we use, everything is dependent on that oil
runs
price.
On the back of fuel. Yeah.
And we're out of the game now at this point. We're not even partaking. We're just going to buy and fund countries that
don't like
I'm
us.
done. I'm done. We need to pull back into the U.S., be like, okay, world, no, we're done.
I think I'll come down to your house. We'll just start drilling in your backyard. We'll pull up a rig, an oil rig.
America's done, feeding the world, being the world. When if you can't even tie your own shoes, you can't be out there doing it for other people. And it's just, I can't even tell you how frustrated, how badly I could go off on this situation. And you know what? I am even to the point where I am done with the liberal and the conservative argument. We're Americans. We need to figure this out together. We need to find a way to come together. We need to find a way to make this better for our children. I don't care, black, white, Asian, Mexican, whatever, purple, pink, whatever your hair is, whatever you think your sex is, whatever. I don't care anymore. We're Americans and we need to figure out a way to come together and make this stuff work. Because
we're all on the same ship and we better start bailing.
Exactly. Yeah, we got to start bailing. And we can't be
because if you don't bail, we're all going down.
We can't be other countries in the world, your ship's about to sink. When ours is same.
We're not going to make it to their to their ship.
Yeah. I'm just so frustrated. And it's insurmountable. It just seems insurmountable.
It feels like we get, 2 years of crazy and we're like, okay, we're coming through. maybe we'll get out of this. Maybe they'll let us go like hang out together, and then poof,
Yeah, it
more
won't be 2 years
chaos.
till November of
Well,
this
it feels like
mayhem.
a decade. But...
And you know what? Like the next election, they better give us some options that actually work. People with plans to like take us into the future instead of voting for the lesser of two evils. I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick of that election cycle. I could just puke. You know, everybody's in this together. We've got to come together. We've got to. We've got to. We've got to quit pointing fingers at each other, arguing within ourselves, and figure out some real game plans that are going to work. Because this is not working.
Have you like looked around at America lately? You think that's going to work?
You know what?
You think that's
I have
possible?
hope. Yes, I have hope. I believe that at the heart of people, they're good. And when you're standing yelling at a crowd like social media is, you're allowed to be an a-hole.
Yeah.
Like when you sit down with people table to table and really talk about stuff, there's a lot of lines that
put away the keyboards and the smartphones.
Exactly. That you think are drawn that aren't drawn, you know, and a lot of middle ground we can come to if everybody just stops being fueled by the BS and really starts doing their own homework, really starts looking at what's going on big picture. And we have a lot of evil in our world. And I'm not saying like one side or the other. I'm saying both sides, every side. There is an evil that is driving things forward to places where they don't need to go. And that evil needs to be eliminated. Like it needs to go so that as a human species, we got so many wonderful places we could go with all of our technology and things like that, and so much brightness out there, and it's just being shattered by this darkness right now. It's it's sickening. All right, so yeah, welcome to the show. There's the opener for you. I'm a little frustrated.
Everybody got their rose-colored glasses on? Let's go.
Yeah. So we are actually going to happier places today. We're doing good things. One of the things I actually love about fiction is it does allow you that escape. So, you know, you can only take so much research and learning about what's going on before you're going to need an escape. So
it's like going to a good football game or baseball or basketball game,
listen
right?
to some music, like good music. Whatever your idea of good music is. So... Yeah.
More hairspray, the better.
Oh, you and my husband. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Yeah, I don't think so. So, Little House in the Big Woods. Just a simpler time, man. Not an easier time, but definitely a simpler one. I don't think it would be easier. Honestly. Yeah, they had to work their little booties off to survive every day. Like we're still very spoiled, even with everything we have going on. So, but I'd like to keep it that way. Like I like
but
my
it was
kids.
real.
Yeah.
It was real. They had real joy and they had real suffering.
Right. Yeah.
Not fake like nowadays.
Literally.
I mean, we have real suffering, but it feels like it shouldn't be.
Feels like a lot of it is
we don't need to be
propagandized
here.
when we don't. Yeah. Made up drama just to keep busy.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I hear that. I know there's a lot of suffering, a lot of things we can do better, which everybody's work in progress. One thing most people don't know about America is we are one of the most charitable, like the most charitable nation in the whole world. But, you know, greedy Americans and all that. So, yeah, I'm really tired of like people dissing on our country too, when there's so much wonderful things that made America the freest, best place on earth, and we cannot lose sight of that, or we lose sight of the whole dream. That's what they're trying to crush right now.
Yeah,
that's what's trying to be crushed. They're trying to crush the American spirit, and that's what offends me about some different people. You know, that's what would be offensive to me, because I do believe in this country and freedom to innovate. So Little House in the Big Woods was in this country, and we're going to stay there. I'm going to try and focus today. I'll tell you, I'm all riled up. And then, yeah, and then you came sliding in, and I'm like, even more fired up. Like, so Christmas has come. We're reading the Christmas chapter.
Today's the first day of spring. Happy spring, y'all.
But in our book, Christmas has come. Gotcha. The snow's drifted up, and Pa goes out, digs a big path from the house to the barn.
Yeah.
And so we had a little dog. It reminds me of Amber. We had this little dog, Looker. It was a Lhasa Apso. And we used to have to snow blow little paths in the yard for her when it would snow really bad in Michigan. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, my little dog's not too... she's too much of a princess to enjoy the snow.
Yeah. Looker would get like her hair would collect snowballs on the front of her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So she'd have to have like a sweater or like the pads and stuff.
Yeah.
So, Pa did it all by hand, and he's spending his time carving a gift for Ma for Christmas, which is beautiful. And the cooking preparations begin. So whenever you were going to have company over or whatnot, you had to get ready well ahead of time. Now we run to the store and drop a few $100, right? But
not then.
Not then. And then the sleigh arrives, and this is one of the things that I always remember. Like, they're just coated in blankets and skins and clothing.
They couldn't even tell who they were. They were just like a blob.
Like the Christmas Story, like worse,
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the kid in the snowsuit.
Yeah. Which we travel around like in our cars and everything, heaters going. Oh, it's still cold out there. Right? I mean, can you imagine like dead of winter traveling in a sleigh with like no roof, no heater blasting?
Then they when they sent them home, they put baked potatoes in them
in their pockets
because that would keep them to keep them warm.
And then the hot irons,
hand warmers.
Yeah, the hot irons, they would heat them all up and put those, and the blankets were warmed up ahead of time.
It's not just a snack, it's your hand warmer.
Right? Dual purpose. 2 is 1, 1 is none. Right. I mean, yeah. So then they hang up their stockings by the...
fire with care.
By the fire, And at this point, I'm thinking it's like real stockings. Like they're taking off their socks.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Right. It's not like the ones that we take out of the box once a year. They're all frilly and fluffy and
What day was laundry day?
So right. Yeah. When is Christmas falling? Yeah.
I hope they didn't put a piece of hard candy in that old sock.
Oh. So then they tell the story of Uncle Peter's dog, who's just going crazy, and they think that he's like going mad or something. And Ma goes and hides in the house.
Went after the game.
Yeah. So then Ma finally gets out, and she's going to get water, and there was panther tracks all around. So
the dog saved the day.
But
she was about to shoot it.
I know. There's a story about I think it's Genghis Khan even, that he had this bird that he loved, and he was out hunting, and he tried to get a drink from the water, and the bird kept knocking the cup out of his hand, and so he kills the bird, and he goes further upstream because he's so thirsty, and here there was a dead animal in the stream, and it would have poisoned him if he would have drank it, and the bird saved his life, but he killed it.
See that?
Right?
Animals are awesome.
And we had a German short hair that actually saved my son from getting bit by a rattlesnake. It took it on the nose and moved my kid out of the way. And I know of a German shepherd as well that saved a kid from the rattlesnake bite. So, dogs are good in my opinion, but could be a survival risk as well. So we're going to get into a lot of that, of pros and cons there. So Christmas morning, what do they get for Christmas? They get new mittens, and you know those are the ones that Mom was knitting.
Mm-hmm.
With like the string on them that went through your jacket.
Through your jacket.
Right? So you couldn't lose it. Yeah. And they're like the worst because when you go out, they just like clunk up with snow.
Yep,
yeah.
just like the dog, right?
Yeah, and then, exactly. And then they're freezing and they're hanging from your jacket. Yeah. But I mean, they didn't have like the Teflon and stuff back then. Mm. So that's what you get. You got your new mittens and your peppermint candy. And that's Christmas.
Yep.
So much simpler, you know? Now your kid's like, oh, well, where's my $500 toy? I think that our kids are going to start seeing a lot simpler Christmases coming up. So Laura also got a rag doll, which she loved. And upon Uncle Peter, both got
the big one. She got the bigger one, right?
Yeah, the good one. Yeah. Like she finally, she doesn't have to use the corn cob.
Mary already had one, and
yeah,
the little baby was too small, so she got the big one.
Which is cool. And then another really interesting thing that I picked up was Aunt Eliza gave Ma a big red apple stuck full of cloves to keep it fresh.
Yep.
I had never heard of that. Like you could
Me either.
Yeah, pack
about the cloves.
What?
Yeah.
What are they?
I mean, we've used them like in ham and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course.
I don't remember ever putting it in an apple.
Right? And to like keep it fresh that way.
Yeah.
So I found that really, really interesting. That's something that I picked out. And then also when Ma gives...
You should try it.
I know. I like cloves, so... When Ma gives Eliza the needle book with the bits of silk... the flannel leaves to stick the needle in because the flannel would keep the needles from rusting.
Pretty cool.
So that is
whoever thought,
because that's pre-stainless steel, right?
Yep.
So
and even now, like you don't even think about the needles. It's like just go Walmart and buy another
whole
pack of 500.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then it's just like last week we were talking about the lead to make the bullets, and Bob was shaving it off and saving the little shavings for the next round of bullet making. I mean, everything was precious to them.
Exactly. And like we made fun of our grandparents, for washing Ziploc bags or whatever. But we're so like, I don't even think disposable society describes like how much we're just like, oh yeah, just, whatever, just go get another one. Oh yeah, whatever, just go get another one. Oh, it doesn't matter. We don't have to worry about taking care of that because...
Well, nowadays it's so hard to fix anything.
It's true.
Because they're made... I mean, really, they aren't made disposable. Or if you got to fix it, you're not going to, like, solder it or replace a bolt. You literally have to get that new part to totally swap it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, completely. You can't... And, like, the older... the older auto manuals used to tell you like how to do a valve adjustment.
Yeah.
Now it tells you to not like drink the harmful chemicals. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, I remember like the timing, like distributor caps and stuff and all that, and the gap on the spark plugs and
exactly. The Chilton's manuals, all those things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and now, you can find it online, and you can find the specs online. And I think that's what killed a lot of that kind of thing, actually, is like, oh, well, you just go online and get it. You just go look it up on our website or whatever.
But
so we don't have to
so much more hands-on. I mean, now you basically have to have, like, a special computer to plug into your car to do anything to. It's not like...
Right? Just to do a windshield
I mean, as
change.
kids, we used to crawl under the hood of one of our buddies' trucks and work. It was like it was big enough that you could sit in the engine well
while you're working on it.
Work on it, yeah.
Yeah.
Now you could barely get the tool into these.
I know. So I was just like, I think, there. Like I say, something has to be called for here, and I mean, it was encouraged to be more intelligent, in my opinion, back then. Like you were encouraged to learn about things so you could have a skill. Now it's like, oh, well, you're encouraged to sit in front of a computer because that's going to be your work, which is so much my work.
Well, yeah. There was a lot of like problem solving,
right? For sure. Don't get me wrong, but
know,
like we're not out doing things hands-on. If the powers that be had their way, we'd all be sitting at our desk in the metaverse forever. You know, that would be our life. How'd they get plugged into the Matrix? I don't know. Did they ever tell that part of the story? Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get that deep into it.
I didn't either. I just watched like the first one. I couldn't handle all the ones subsequently. But I just remember there was like people plugged in. That's how the machines ran, was people batteries. So let's talk pets today. Let's go someplace cheery. And let's talk about our animals, because goodness knows, I love my animals. I definitely don't want anything to happen to my dogs. And but I'm worried about how I'm going to feed them, you know?
Yeah.
That's like my huge concern. And even like the chickens are like, oh yeah, well you could let them out and they can free range. Oh yeah, so they can destroy
then
my
there's
garden.
Somebody's dinner.
Yeah. Or
then there's somebody's dinner.
Or a dog's dinner.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have food for your dog and now you're just going to let your chickens out to free range. Good luck with that one, you know? So, I mean, there's issues here that we really have to think about. So on a poll, 46% of people say they don't have a disaster plan for their pets. And even a lot of people that I know that maybe they don't call themselves a prepper, but they really are, because they're like getting prepared and everything. And you talk to them about their pets and they're like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. And I was like, well, maybe you better. So of course we have the basics, the 4 Ps, you know, plan ahead. A lot of shelters don't allow pets there. So even if it's, you know, natural disaster scenario and you're evacuating, are you going to go to a shelter? Are they going to allow your animal to go there?
Yeah.
You know, personally, I wouldn't go to a shelter ever.
A lot of times it's just,
but, you know,
like there's like shelters for the animal too. So it's like,
so you get separated.
You go in there and they let pets. It doesn't, I mean, the pet's like caged, and because they can't risk having all these animals together. Right.
I agree. Don't get me wrong. I don't disagree. It's just I don't think that people think about that enough. Like, oh, show up at the shelter. Oh, well, your animal can't come in. You know.
Yeah, put them in the cage.
And then also practicing evacuations with your pets. So I mean, that's something like, and we never really think about, like, okay, guys, here, if a fire happens, we all meet over here. Well, who grabs the dogs? Who's grabbing your kitty? You know, whatever animals you have, who's taking care of all that? A lot of times when things happen, the animals freak out and they'll like go hide and stuff. So, yeah, we're going to get into this article that I read. Oh my gosh. I can't leave it off the board today because that was hilarious. This lady,
you have to share the link.
This lady had the go command for the dog. So you could be like, danger, Will Robinson. And then the dog runs to you and finds the cat. I'm like, yeah, that's really going to work. Okay, pack a kit. So I know for me personally, my dogs are big enough to carry a lot of their own stuff, like on their back and whatnot. So if we're bugging out, it doesn't make sense to leave that avenue untapped. I used to have dogs that could literally pull a wagon. I'd hook them up like a team and they'd pull the wagon. Yeah. And so that's just something you can't leave untapped as far as like, can they carry their own stuff? Now Amber ain't going to be carrying nothing. You're going to be carrying her. Your backpack.
I have one.
Yeah, I figured.
I have a dog carrying backpack.
I figured. So you're going to have your go bag.
It's either I carry the dog or I don't come along.
Yeah. I knew it. I was like, shit, you're going to be walking up with the dog on the front of you.
Yeah, she'll reload for me.
I'll be like, plates are still cheaper than a dog.
I'll be like, Amber, reloading.
Reloading. Yeah, right. She'll be like, where's my wine? Did you bring that along, Dad?
She does. I sent you that picture.
I know.
My stupid dogs standing up on the outdoor furniture, drinking out of my wife's wine glass.
Reading the book, drinking the wine, just
that's the life she lives.
It's rough. It's rough. It's just
all my fault.
Average day.
What's that in not entitled? I allow it to happen.
Yeah, fair enough. So, there's also protect is the final part of the 4 Ps. So, there's a lot of times that evacuations happen and you're not at home. So there's stickers you can put on your door that indicate how many pets are inside of there.
Yeah, we had that.
I have mixed emotions on this one because, like, hello, burglar. I have 2 dogs in the house. You know?
But they don't know what the dogs are.
That's true. And it could be a deterrent.
It works to my benefit.
It could be like, So I don't know. I have kind of mixed emotions on that one. But I have been away from the home before when we were getting evacuated. And I can tell you what, the biggest concern I had was for my dogs and my notebook that has all my stories, the backbone of my stories in it. But I was freaking out because we were country, 40-acre lots. You tell me there's somebody that's going to go door to door to go after animals on a 40-acre. No, it's not happening, And so I might have bent a couple laws to get into my house that day.
Never.
But it was, my animals, dude. I'm not just going to let my house burned out. Like, oh, sorry, dogs, I mean, I'd rather get in trouble and be able to save my dogs than watch them So it is legit. You need to protect your pets. You need to think about, okay, what's happening if I'm not there? Are there neighbors that are home all the time that that maybe they could go get them so that when they evacuate, they can bring them with them or something? I know it's extra stuff, but the animals are, a lot of us love our animals very much. And I wouldn't say, some people consider them children. I don't. They are animals, but man, I do love them a bunch, and I wouldn't want to see them, barbecued in my house. So, yeah. So, personal thoughts. I've done a few podcasts now on animals, on raising livestock, how to feed them, on dogs and medications and flea treatments and stuff like that. So there's a material that I'm drawing off of that I can reference in my show notes for this podcast. But medicating animals is something that's really, really a sensitive topic because there's a lot of things that we can eat that they can't.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if you're going to medicate your dog with something, you better make sure that it's okay for that. And I do know that dogs can take what cats can, but cats can't always take what dogs can. That cats are even more sensitive. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not medically trained. I'm not a veterinarian. So you need to do your own research on this one. You need to find out. If your dog is medicated or something, good luck. But, you stock up. Same way as somebody that's, I have extra dog Tylenol around the house and stuff just in case. Because my dogs, if they get stung by a wasp, it's nice to have a anti-inflammatory that they can take, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of my thoughts as far as it goes. Now, back in the day, they didn't have heartworm medicine, and they didn't have rabies prevention, and they didn't have Lyme's disease preventatives and stuff like that. So there's a certain understanding that you're going to have to realize that your dog's probably not going to live as long as it could have, if we had our world. So there's just some realities that have to be faced there. There are lots of natural remedies for dogs. There's lots of natural flea and tick treatments. There's all kinds of stuff. So it does warrant some research on it, especially if your animal has that need. Not just dog, I don't know, your cat, or please not your hamster. But, if you have something that you care a good deal for. Another personal thought that I have on this issue is most of our dogs are spoiled brats, like Chen's dog, right? I mean, spoiled dogs. and they are not going to help you in a battle situation. Like, just so that you know, unless your dog is trained to stick by your side, to walk like an army dog, right? Unless your dog is trained that way, they're not going to help you out in a battle situation. I've played a lot of airsoft games with my dogs. They are noisy. I've shot my dogs before because I didn't know. I know. Because I didn't know it was my dogs and not like somebody else creeping through the bushes. The good point that I have found with them is they make a lot of noise, so they can kind of camouflage your noise.
Yeah.
But my dogs always are by me, so everybody knows if my dogs are in the area, I'm in the area, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. So I've found them actually way more of a hindrance in that type of situation. I'm going to work with the new one on trying to like teach him to play airsoft with me so he stays with me and whatnot. But I personally would say like tie him up with grandma. Tie him up with the kids. Because they're great noisemakers. They can be really intimidating, you know? But they might not be the best thing for you to take to a potential, you know, gunfight or something like that. Right.
They don't always do the stealth thing.
No, unless they've been trained to do so. Dogs can be, depending on the dog, I'm not sure about Amber, but depending on the dog, they can be very helpful in finding protein. So my dogs like will actively go kill something like a jackrabbit or you know, animals like that and bring it back. So that's great. You know, they could feed themselves, and if I needed it, you bet I'm going to take it from them, right? So they might not bring it back then.
Alpha, huh?
Alpha. Oh, you bet. That's the only way to raise dogs. So, so they can be helpful, like finding food, things like that. Cats don't work in a bug out situation. I hate to bust anybody's bubble. I mean, you can put them in a carrier, but if you're bugging out, it's because like if you're in if it's a natural disaster, yes. Okay. Short-term kind of situation. But if it's like we have a societal collapse and your home is no longer a safe place to be and you're bugging out into the street to go and try and find someplace that's a safer place to be, you're not going to be able to take your cat with you. You know, it's not going to work. I know some people like take them camping and things like that, but it's just my opinion that it's, you know, even the dog is a toss up at that point. I would take them hands down, but the cats may be able to find mice. They might help you keep mice away from your stock. So at home, that's a different scenario. If you're bugged in, that's a different scenario because they are mousers. And they do help keep rodent populations down. So anybody who's, you know, storing food knows the importance of doing that. So they can be helpful that way. Livestock, like horses and cattle, man, they need a lot of feed, you know.
Don't ask Dale.
About horses and cattle. I know. Okay. So I will circle back to horses because if you have the understanding to like take care of a horse, you know how to trim their hooves and you know how to handle any kind of things that arise, then horse can be an asset, right? Yeah. You have the understanding how to train them to do things and stuff like that. But otherwise, most horses today are spoiled as well. No joke. They're like pasture animals. We knew people who like would put the horse saddle on the horse and then walk the horse down the street. And like, why? Well, you know, we can just walk together. And I'm like, yep, but it's a horse. You're supposed to be riding the horse. Oh, no, I don't ride the horse. No? Okay. So if you think like you can just take any horse and throw a cart on it and it's going to pull your stuff around, man, you are wrong. There's a reason why they had like the blinders so that the horses couldn't see what was behind them because not every horse is cut out to do that. They freak out, you know, and it's a long training process to get them to pull a cart. It's not just like, oh yeah, hook the cart up to him. I found a horse. I'm going to, no. Good luck. And they're big. And if you get hurt, right? If you get a leg broken, you get something like that in that environment, you're in big trouble, you know? So, I don't know. And they take a lot of feed. A lot of feed. Well, you need either a lot of land or you need to have a lot of feed stored. And I mean, how much can you store for how long?
Yeah, but what's the long term?
Exactly. And now you have a bunch of hungry people. Yep. Of course, people can ride it, but they're not going to care about that. They're going to want food in their bellies. And I don't care who's out there that's like, oh my God, I would never eat a horse. Really? Because if you don't have nothing or your kids don't have anything and they're on the edge of not existing anymore because they don't have food, you're going to feel a lot differently. You know, are you going to eat bugs or are you going to eat a horse steak? I mean, I don't want to either. I understand everybody gets freaked out. Oh my God, you can't eat horses. I know. I get it. But there comes a time when you have to understand, like, you're going to do what it takes to survive or you're not going to survive. Those are your options. And the same kind of thing with cows. They're going to be a huge target for hungry people. So even if you can, like, if you have the space to be able to feed them and you can hay your fields to provide food for when it's not, growing in the pasture, you have to, how many people do you have to guard those animals? Yeah. Right? And what's like the turnover rate? Cows have a really long gestation period, like 9 months, like a human, to have one baby. And yes, it's 1,200 pounds meat, but
how long for that baby to be like
to grow up and be market weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
That 1,200 pounds, that's a lot of investment in. So again, if you're like set up for it, cool. If you're like, oh well, I have enough land and maybe I'm gonna like have a cow, no, no, and they're big. Mm-hmm. One interesting thing, I think you were with me when we were talking about how some like tribes and stuff down in South, they'll like bleed them. So like you can actually puncture a hole in the cow and then bleed the blood off and then use the blood for nutritional value. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of cruel in my opinion, but I mean, you didn't have to kill the animal and you still receive nutrients off of it. Mm-hmm. So the other thing I talk a lot about, obviously, is my chickens, because I have chickens. And, of course, yeah, you can free range them, but then you're going to risk dying. They are loud. They're loud. And people are going to know you have chickens, So, again, you're a target.
You're not bugging out with them either. So.
No. Yeah, like under my arm. Oh, I'm going to get a backpack like for my chicken. Yeah.
A little rickshaw cart with all your chickens in it.
Maybe. Yeah.
You want a chicken tractor?
So they can eat table scraps, yeah, but will there be any table scraps?
Right.
Right? At that point, like you're eating now. Every bit counts now. So, and then at the dogs, and then, what's more important, right? So ducks are obviously quieter. They're really easy to take care of, but ducks don't like hot environments. So if you're in a hot environment, that's a challenge. And also, ducks actually eat more than chickens do. So, depending on the breed and whatnot. But I do like the ducks, and I do like the duck eggs, although I found they're not like daily layers. The Muscovies that we had, they lay in like 3-month stints. So, that was just my experience with the Muscovies. So, I was doing more research because, of course, I want to hear like what other people have to say about this. And I found this hilarious article from the publication She Knows. And it was for pet parents. And it was how to save your pet in the zombie apocalypse. Oh my gosh. Oh, you put the link in there, right?
I did. I put the link under the live show chat.
Anybody who has access to the live show chat, go check out that link because you are going to laugh so hard. I promise that'll be your laugh for the day. So And I understand too, because I had this lady, like I think from New York, ask me one time, like, well, what would I do with my cats in a bug out situation? You know, and I was like, oh, well, you know.
Right, you got rice?
I know. You could like teach them to like be on a like halter, I guess. So
Soy sauce.
So you're going to only be able to store so much. And bulk food really attracts pests, you know, if you have like bags and bags of bulk food. So you're going to need to buy a storage bin for it. So you're, you know, for every bag, you know, you can probably fit like a bag and a half into one of the 40-pound bins. And then, you know, so you're looking at a lot of storage for the bulk food. You can definitely do that. Canned food, buy as much as you can. I mean, because honestly, both of these things, you can actually eat them. And I know now you're like, there's no way I would ever. But
are you gonna wear a house coat and push a shopping cart around?
Yeah, right. But I'm telling you, like, that'll be the last thing you eat, because you don't want to eat it. So you'll like put that off.
What's the last thing you would eat? The cat.
Well, fair enough. Yeah. I might like trade a neighbor. Saw that was in 1 second after they like traded the neighbor.
Oh, the dog.
But my dog's really fat, so I don't know. I mean,
yeah, but they couldn't eat their own dog.
I know. So I totally get that. So they like traded.
That was a tough one, man.
Yeah, I get that. So this lady, she's like, okay, and then onesies, you have to stock up on onesies. I'm like, explain why in a minute. But she's like, so you need to teach them to access foods. And in my world today, heck no. Okay. My dog is not going in the pantry and eating out of the bag. My Ragnar would like eat it all. He'd just be like in a ball on the floor, like, there's no way. Shadow's trained. She would never touch it, you know. But Ragnar would just annihilate it. But it made me think, there's a show on history, Life After People, and I love that show. I actually took like extensive notes on those for writing my novels and whatnot. Now I think you have to get the history membership or something, but maybe you can find them on YouTube. But it's Life After People, and they're really good shows. And it was talking about like the different breeds of dogs and who would survive and stuff like that. And it was saying like the really well-trained dogs might not survive as well as dogs that would just be more resourceful if they had to, right?
Right. So, they're waiting for the command to do something.
Exactly. So Shadow, my black lab, she's like really trained. She would never open a door without like somebody doing it for her. But Ragnar like barges right through. You know, he figures out how to open it. Yeah.
They'd have to stick together.
Exactly. Because she's a really great hunter. So he would be better off with her. But she also she's two different animals from inside to outside. She knows the inside rules, right? And so I would definitely not condoning to train your animals to do this, but it is true that there's different breeds that would be like, okay, mom and dad aren't here. I am hungry. It's been a month. I'm finding food no matter what. And then there's other dogs that just would be like, well, they're not here and I'm dead now, you know? So she was saying to teach him to knock over the food bag on command, to counter surf your counters.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Worm their way into bins or the garbage. No, and double no, not in my world. But, you know, yeah, and that you could give them the go command. Zombie, open the fridge, go. Like, no, that's not.
Did you see, because she used all like stock pictures for those
different... Oh, I know.
It was like the army was where she got the stock footage of the dog opening the refrigerator door.
Oh yeah, it was so hilarious. And then did you see when she was doing the counter surfing picture? She had the dog like held up there, like just jabbing it at the
they're like holding the dog upside down, like dipping him into a bowl.
Dipping him in the bowl. That you might have to teach your dog to do this. No, it's not happening. Okay. To toilet train them to drink out of the toilet because they're going to need the extra water source.
Yeah, but you better teach them how to flush to get
Right?
more.
Yeah, no. And I don't know. She like kind of like made it like suggestive, like you could like show them how to do that. And I'm like, are you freaking serious right now? Like, no.
Yeah, and the onesie.
The
She was like,
onesie. Oh,
teach them roll in stinky stuff, right?
yeah.
And
Cause
then put it up on the wall low enough for they could squirm back into it.
yeah,
You are not teaching your dog to get into a
a
freaking
onesie on
onesie.
its own. I've never even seen a dog onesie. All I could picture is like my German Shepherd in a onesie with like his big fuzzy head sticking out. And like, so she said, we do that because if it's the zombie apocalypse, you know, in the TV shows, they rub the guts on them
Yeah.
so they don't get detected. So if they were wearing the onesie, I'm like, are you serious right now? You
She needs
thought
to put
you
the
put
wine
that
bottle
much
down.
thought into this? Okay. And then, the barricade. That animals can be taught to make a barricade. So, like, the dog that can move the couch and stuff will barricade. And since dogs are so destructive anyway, it should be easy to teach them to move the furniture to block a hallway. Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm telling you guys, go check out that article. Oh
laugh.
My gosh.
That's a good laugh.
Oh, it is like comic relief, like nobody's business. I found that. I laughed so hard. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
All right, so jumping back to a little bit of reality, we're not going to be having the dog onesie for our...
We could get them done up with Changing Earth logos on them. That could be you could make some money off of that.
I could sell them at Prepper Camp. Merchandising.
That's right. That's the key to success.
The dog
for every
onesie
author.
for the zombie apocalypse. Yep. So, animals that are good to raise, reality-wise, guys, rabbits are great. Okay. You can raise a bunch of rabbits in a little space. You can raise them in the city, in your garage. Mm-hmm. They're really easy to take care of. Their pee is really bad, really corrosive and gross, but their poops are actually really great fertilizers for gardens. So they're great animals. They reproduce like crazy. The only problem is they're protein only. So there's no fat involved in a rabbit. So you are going to have an extra source of fat. But when it comes down to it, rabbits are great. And Rick Austin has a book, Secret Livestock of Survival.
Yep.
And he goes through like the key animals that are really great to keep. It's a great book. I highly recommend picking it up. And rabbits is one that he recommends. And then he has a food system even developed for them so that you can keep them fed and it grows and it's pretty self-sustained and it's really, really neat. So rabbits is a great one. Country, city, rabbits.
Yep.
I had an interesting time with rabbits, but that's neither here nor there. We got a bunch of Changing Earth news too. So sheep are pretty good animals. They keep a lot of sheep in Australia. Small acreage needs, low feed needs. They also produce milk. However, they prefer dry, arid areas that are higher altitudes. The meat and the wool is very, very valuable, and they're easier to control than a horse or a cow, but they don't really like moist areas. So that can be a problem. Goats, another one that Rick recommends. Very great. The small little Nubian ones are better because they're just easier to take care of, less headache, everything. Of course, you're going to have a smaller meat output from them, but still good animals. So they have small acreage needs. You got the milk, you got the meat, good pelts, and they breed a lot. They breed a lot too. We kind of went over horses already. Cows we went over. Pigs will eat everything, so they're good to have. However, they root up everything as well. They're pigs. Yeah, they'll dig you a pool in like no time. So electric fencing,
feel like a muddy one.
Yeah, electric fencing is recommended for them. And then you can do the hog ring in their nose. It stops them from rooting so much. However, they consume about 800 to 1,000 pounds of food to bring them up to market weight. So again, they need to have an area where they can eat, but they'll eat anything. You can feed them acorns, you can feed them tons of stuff, but you got to have either area for them to free range, or you got to have scraps and whatnot for them. So it does take planning for pigs. So just make sure that you're prepared. They're pretty easy to take care of, and
I
cool
I read a prepper novel where the postman was the guy that kind of did the census and kind of kept tabs on the community.
Mm-hmm.
And one day the postman went missing, but the pigs ate well.
Yep. Yeah, they'll eat anything, literally.
Yep.
So turkeys. I don't usually see turkeys on a list. I was kind of interested by that. Where'd I get this list from? I got it from askaprepper.com. Turkeys, they need to eat just like chickens. You got to have a feed supply for them, and they are susceptible to theft. They make noise. You're not going to get the eggs from them. Personally, I would not keep them at all, ever. So they're just so noisy, and we had tons of like wild ones around my old house, and you know why Thanksgiving dinner is turkey, because they make so much noise that time of year. Chickens also feed. They're loud. You can do the coop on, excuse me. You can do the coop on wheels, and that allows them to forage, and you can just keep moving them around. So we kind of have that going. We just put PVC under ours and moved it because it was getting bad. And then ducks. Ducks have, their eggs are usually bigger. They have more protein in their eggs. Like I said, though, I don't see them laying as religiously. Now, there might be other breeds that lay more religiously that I just don't know about. I've kept Muscovy, but I've never kept that other kind that Rick really recommends, the khaki.
Yeah, I don't remember the name, but yeah, I've seen them. But don't you need water for them too?
They need water to be happy.
Part of their digestion.
You don't have to have them, but yeah, if you're in
fiddle around with the water when they're eating.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they do like to have the water.
Mm-hmm.
All right, because I'm a dog person, I'm still coming back to the question of how am I going to feed my dogs? Because dogs can be an early warning system. If there's a natural disaster, they can help with finding victims. If your house comes down, so if they can help you find things. And it's really just your choice if you want a dog or not. There's a lot of debate that goes on in the survival community about is it good or not. So option one is you stock commercial food. It's got a 10-year shelf life. If you put it in better storage, it's going to have an even longer life. You can eat it too. So while you're stocking food for potential animal, if it comes down to it, you can survive off of it as well. Or you make your own. So dogs that eat just meat, there's a they're carnivores, right? Dogs are not carnivores. They are omnivores. And dogs that eat just meat are more aggressive and hyperactive than if they have a balanced diet. So they need 1 part of protein. Organ meats are really good for this. So I'm not a big fan of organ meats. And
so there you go.
Right? Exactly. So organ meat, it's higher nutrient and it's cheaper. If you're going to buy it these days, it's cheaper to buy organ meat than it is anything else. And you just boil them first. And then, so 1 part protein to 1 part veggie. This could be peas, beans, or carrots. I don't know about you, but I'm not going to feed my dog beans, I don't think. Because we have enough of that going on. And then to 1 part rice. So we're all stocking, enough rice. So, that's a pretty good little indicator right there. And if you were just making it happen, then. Alrighty. Well, that's all I got for you today. We'll be back next week. We're doing, it's called Sundays in Little House in the Big Woods. The next chapter is Sundays.
Yeah.
So that ought to be exciting. Yeah.
The story they tell was pretty funny too.
I haven't read it yet, so don't spoil. Well, I've read it before, but I haven't read it like fresh,
Yep.
So, alrighty, guys. Take care. Be ready for next week. We'll see you then. And until then, remember, dream,
survive,
thrive.
Thank you for joining Sarah and Chen for this episode of the Changing Earth podcast. Don't forget to pick up your copy of Day After Disaster at www.authorSarahFHathaway.com. If you love the Changing Earth series,